Didn't I see a similar set in Bogdanov's house? Maybe it's a new trend. Oh, that's real cute. All this old-fashioned romance stuff gives me the heebie-jeebies. Nice color. Hi, I'm back.
Welcome.
Was Mr. Bogdanov an extrovert?
I am sorry. Was he a pervert?
No. Was he an extrovert? Meaning, did he seek the company of others readily?
I don't think so. We would usually meet alone at each other's apartments, so I didn't really see him interacting with other people.
He wouldn't take you out?
Sure, he would take me out, mostly to quiet places. He did not like loud places. Oh, he could be quite romantic at times. Then again, he could get politically incorrect too.
Have you steadily seen Mr. Bogdanov during these 3 years?
Yes, sort of. I mean, until recently.
What do you mean by that?
Well, he was displaying unusually aggressive behavior recently. He even yelled at me a couple of times.
He yelled? That is completely inappropriate. Such rudeness.
I tried to reason with him, but he would just not listen. He had this strange sparkle in his eyes, as if his behavior shifted. Oh, he could be so romantic at times.
That sounds totally strange. Do you have any idea why?
No idea, dear.
Was Mr. Bogdanov more romantic than the Union men?
Oh, I really would not know that. I did not really get involved with other men yet.
You've had no other partners or dates, you mean?
Uh-huh.
You must have really loved him.
Yes, I did. Can you understand why I'm so upset now?
Was it difficult to leave your biological family in Russia?
Actually, I had none. After my biological uncle died,
You had no other bio-relatives?
no, my biological parents died during the Great War. My bio-uncle raised me, and when he died, I inherited money from him.
When did he die?
Like 4 years ago, I decided to immigrate, with the help of that money.
Is there a particular reason that anyone would want to go to Russia?
Not really. It is hard to imagine why. Anybody would want to go to Russia nowadays.
You sure Mr. Bogdanov had no reason?
Although he frequently longed for his past there, he had no links left behind. It could have to do with business, maybe.
Such as?
Most of those things he sells are manufactured in Russia.
Really?
Oh, I don't know. I am not sure.
Why would Mr. Bogdanov long for his past in Russia?
I think he has some good memories.
He did? Memories of what?
He was very fond of his late biological grandparents.
Why his bio-grandparents?
Apparently, they took care of him when he was a child.
Larissa, I've got all I need from you for the time being. Is it okay if I come back later?
Oh, sure. See you.
Thanks. Goodbye. So, Bogdanov was fond of his biological grandparents. Enough altruistic stories for one day. No, I've had enough of that dangerous creep. He is of no use to my investigation. Hello, I am Senior Officer Phoenix Wallace from the Adrianopolis Peace and Security Center. I am here to see First Lieutenant Ulrika Thorson from the Logistics Department.
And what is this regarding, ma'am?
Official peace and security business.
Is First Lieutenant Thorson expecting you?
Not exactly.
One moment, ma'am. First Lieutenant Thorson is waiting for you in her office. Please follow me. Officer Wallace from the Peace and Security Division. Please escort her to the office of First Lieutenant Thorson at the Logistics Department.
May I help you?
I'm Senior Peace Officer Phoenix Wallace from the Peace Center here in Adrianopolis.
How can I help you, Officer Wallace?
I need to speak with you regarding your late sexual partner, Captain Juan Antonio Perez. Officer Thorson, how long did you know Captain Perez?
For more than 3 years.
Did you happen to work with him?
Yes, I did. We worked on several projects together.
Did you enjoy working with him?
Sure. He was a hard worker and a very funny person.
And a good pilot, I hear.
He was one of the most experienced at our base. But wait a minute. Why are you asking me all these questions?
I'm working on a murder case, and Captain Perez's name came up during my investigation.
A murder case? What murder case?
A Union citizen named Vasily Bogdanov was murdered in Odessa, Russia.
Murdered in Odessa? I didn't know one of our citizens was murdered there.
The case is being kept confidential until further investigation is made.
I see. And what does Antonio have to do with this murder?
His name was on a list of Mr. Bogdanov's.
What kind of list?
I'm still working on that.
When did this murder happen, anyway?
On April 6th?
Antonio was already dead by then.
Yes, I know. So, tell me, Officer Thorson, was Captain Perez interested in art?
In art? Are you sure this is related to your investigation?
Yes, it is.
Well, let me tell you. Antonio was not an art enthusiast.
Are you sure, Officer Thorson?
Of course. He couldn't identify a Picasso, even if it was right before his eyes.
I see. So he didn't mention any art interests to you recently?
No. Antonio and I only had limited time together, so we usually focused on other, more immediate needs.
Physical needs?
Exactly.
Did Captain Perez ever mention going to the Thing Store?
A what store?
The Thing Store, down at the Pyramid.
I am sorry, Officer Wallace, but we have a very busy schedule at this base. We rarely have time to browse the Pyramid.
Oh, that's so unfortunate. There are great stores at the Pyramid, and the Thing Store happens to be one of my favorites.
And what do they sell in these thing stores?
Oh, all kinds of original decorative ornaments.
What did you say the name of the store was?
The Thing Store.
I remember Antonio talking about a thing store, but I never thought thing was actually the name of the store.
It is, and I suggest you check it out sometime.
I will try to remember to do that, Officer Wallace.
I have an urgent call from my headquarters First Lieutenant Thorson. Can we continue at another time?
Certainly, Officer Wallace. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Julio finally came up with some useful information. Right, Julio?
Yes, Chief.
We're all ears. Julio,
Oh, yes. This Bogdanov fellow.
please, a little respect. Addressing a deceased person.
Sure. Mr. Bogdanov arrived to the Union 3 years ago.
Okay, we already know that. Tell us something new, Julio.
He brought more than $1.3 million with him.
Wow.
An impressive amount. I wonder where he got it from.
I have more gossipy stuff, too.
Excuse me, what kind of stuff?
Just that he immigrated with his nuptial partner. In Russia, of course.
And what was her name?
Larissa Lukin, his primary sexual partner, was his former nuptial partner.
No way.
I suppose Miss Lucan never mentioned this to you, Phoenix?
No, she did not.
Very well. What else, Julio?
Yes. There's this stuff about his finances.
What about his finances?
He made a lot of money over the last 2 months. And then bang!
What does bang mean, Julio?
Oh, he withdrew it all on April 6th.
What did he do with it?
He took a banker's check.
Curious. Why would he want to do that? Anything else?
Not really. I uploaded all the details to your PAs.
Thank you, Julio. Your timing was somewhat late, but nevertheless. Let me add that we have an autopsy report for Mr. Bogdanov. He was murdered by a 9mm firearm. 9mm is a typical bullet size for a handgun in the rogue states.
Ouch! That would hurt.
Yes, Julio, we know. Julio, you are dismissed. I had a look at Bogdanov's financial information, and I found it to be very interesting. I suggest you take a close look at it.
Sure, Chief, provided that Julio uploaded it to my PA.
I'm sure he did. He may not be as smart as you are, but he's definitely very ambitious. He sees this case as an important stepping stone for his future, and so should you.
Yes, Chief. Of course I do.
You need to be more convincing than that. So far, your progress in this case has been average. I suggest you focus better, or else you may lose your status as my lead investigative officer.
I understand, Chief.
Good. I also noticed Melvin Phillips Spencer's name in Bogdanov's bank records. What do you make of that?
Oh, the man that died using the illegal device. I don't know, but I can investigate.
Do that. But don't spend too much time on it. That case is being handled by our headquarters, and I don't want you to step on anybody's toes.
Sure, Chief. I'll be careful.
I'll get Spencer's autopsy report sent to you. One more thing. After you carefully examine Bogdanov's finances, ask Pierre DeVille's opinion. I bet he'll make some interesting remarks.
Pierre DeVille? All right.
In the meantime, I believe you have certain questions to ask Ms. Lukin.
PA, access GPSN census database and add Melvin Spencer's address to my navigation map. But I better pay a visit to Larissa first. She's been hiding stuff from me. Hi, Larissa.
Oh, hi again, dear. Sit down.
Thank you. How are you today?
Oh, I'm a little better. How is the investigation going?
Actually, I wanted to talk to you about that.
Oh, did you find out who the murderer is?
Not yet. but there are some issues that make me concerned.
Oh, is there anything I can do to help?
Larissa, I am totally disappointed with you.
Phoenix, why, dear?
Because you have been lying to me about your past.
Oh, now hui.
You lied to me about your history with Mr. Bogdanov, and I want to know why.
I was scared.
Of what?
You know, nuptial agreement. Not acceptable. We decided to keep it a secret.
Come on, you don't expect me to believe that. I want the truth this time, not any petty excuses.
I was scared. Really scared.
Of what?
The Gambinos.
What did you say you're scared of?
The Gambinos.
Who are the Gambinos?
They are the scariest people of Russia.
What do they do?
They are the biggest Russian mafia.
Why are you scared of the Gambinos?
Because Vasily used to be one of them.
You must be joking.
Unfortunately not.
Being linked to a mafia and all, I wonder how Mr. Bogdanov passed the security screening.
Vasily was their accountant, and they trusted him with the money. He was never notorious, and they always tell us our past is not relevant in the academy.
No, it is not, but... Wow, being part of a crime family? Well, if he passed the security tests, that means he had no tendencies toward violence.
Oh, Vasily was very kind. I keep telling you. He just had no choice during his childhood, and he was doing something he hated. Then he told me we should take all the risk and try to immigrate. I still think about what might have happened if one of us failed the academy.
Larissa, lying to a GPSN employee is a serious offense. You should know better.
I know, Phoenix. I told you I was not emotionally fit to behave politically correct.
I suppose you did, but you must never do it again. Understood?
Promise, my dear.
I have other things to get done today, but I'll be back. So Bogdanov used to be a Gambino crime family member. So hard to believe. Yet Larissa sounded convincing enough for a change. I know it's late, but I need to report my findings to Chief Morrison.
You better have a good reason for bringing me here this late.
Larissa Lukin claims that Vasily Bogdanov used to be a member of the Gambino crime family of Russia.
You don't say? Mr. Bogdanov must have been a graduate of the Randy Hamilton School of Security.
I beg your pardon, Chief. Are you talking about Senior Officer Randy Hamilton, my predecessor? I didn't know he owned a school for security training.
Of course he didn't. I was being sarcastic. When I started my tenure here 5 years ago, Randy was the only security screening interviewer. Later we learned that many of the novices he had interviewed and approved were convicted of serious crimes committed once they were living in the Union. I immediately suspended and eventually fired him when I had gathered enough scientific evidence.
Oh, I didn't know that. Was he that bad of an interviewer?
Yes, and he was a terrible judge of character. I think he believed that everybody had a right to live in the Union. I even had to take over the interviews myself until I commissioned you and a few others.
I see.
Phoenix, I want you to pretend that you know nothing about the shortcomings of Randy Hamilton. Maybe our Ms. Lukin has more skeletons to offer us from her closet.
Evidently, Larissa Lukin told me that Bogdanov had been a Gambino accountant, and that he was never a part of any duty involving violence. She insists that Bogdanov hated being part of a crime family, and so he took the risk of stealing money in order to immigrate here.
A Gambino accountant on the run? They certainly have a reason to fry his ass.
Excuse me, Chief.
I said the Gambinos have a very good reason to have had this man killed. Don't you agree?
I certainly do, Chief.
Maybe some of Bogdanov's buddies that Piper mentioned to you were actually Gambino crime family members.
Oh, come on, Chief. How could that be? Our border controls would definitely have caught them.
Are you sure? Don't forget about the Randy Hamilton School of Security. There are several documented cases of rogue staters who have outsmarted our border security professionals.
I suppose you have a point there, but I think it's very unlikely.
I only have a little time. Continue.
Larissa Lukin told me that the last member of her biological family, an uncle, had died 4 years ago. She inherited money from this uncle, and that money helped her to pay the Immigration Academy fees.
Spare me the details, Phoenix. I want concrete facts, not pulp drama.
Oh, of course, Chief. You were right about Bogdanov's 7-digit number, Chief. It belonged to a Captain Juan Antonio Perez of the GPSN military.
So, did you find this Captain Perez? Does he have anything to do with Bogdanov?
I can't tell yet, Chief. And unfortunately, Captain Perez isn't around to answer my questions either. He's dead.
What? How did he die?
He died in a plane crash over Russian soil. The details of the accident are being kept confidential.
Who's your contact there?
I talked to the Personnel Officer Corporal Monahan and First Lieutenant Thorson, who happened to be Perez's sexual partner. First Lieutenant Thorson had known Captain Perez for more than 3 years. She claims that Perez was one of the most experienced pilots at their base. Larissa Lukin claims that Bogdanov had been displaying unusually aggressive behavior recently. She insists that he even yelled at her a couple of times.
This Bogdanov must have been a very moody man.
But Chief, we all get moody too. But that doesn't mean we can behave in an inappropriate manner.
There must have been a reason that caused him to behave this way.
Perhaps. It certainly isn't natural.
I want to talk to you about the Stardust Club. You mention it in all of your reports. But there is nothing but gossip. If you cannot obtain any useful information from this place, I suggest you drop it.
Speaking of Stardust, Fabian told me about a Mata Hari. Apparently she's the main attraction at the Stardust Club. Fabian claims that this Mata Hari can captivate anyone in her audience, and she dances to some exotic Middle Eastern music.
Phoenix, what did I just tell you? What is the relevance? Is there something I'm missing?
But she was sitting right next to Mikhailov, Bogdanov's buddy, and when they noticed me watching them, they abruptly stood up and departed in separate directions.
Are you sure they left because of you?
I am positive. Mata Hari gave me a stern look right before she stood up.
Why do you think your scrutiny caused them to leave?
I don't know, but I sure want to find out.
I asked Julio to find out about Bogdanov's early life in Russia, but he couldn't come up with anything useful yet. Did Miss Lukin happen to mention anything to him?
Oh, yes. She revealed to me that Bogdanov had fond memories of his late biological grandparents. Apparently, they used to take care of him when he was a child. I suppose that's why he longed for his past there. Both Larissa Lukin and Kati Stavropoulos confirm that Bogdanov had a strong bond with his late biological grandparents.
So, It's normal for a man who was raised in the Rogue States to have that kind of connection to his biological relatives, whether they are parents or grandparents. What are you getting at?
Well, I just remembered that Bogdanov had a 2D photo album at his office, and in it there was a picture of an older couple and a little boy. I wonder if it was Bogdanov and his grandparents in that photo.
What's the point, Phoenix? Stop babbling.
I have nothing further to mention at this time.